Hi folks, Dave, the Honest Audiophile. This is the Fearless Audio Roland, and these are my Honest Audiophile impressions. The Fearless Audio Roland is a dual Sonian electrostat driver and a dual Sonian balanced armature and one dynamic driver hybrid. It has an impedance of 5.8 ohms and sensitivity of 106 decibels and a frequency response of 18 hertz to 80 kilohertz. The unboxing experience is very nice. Take off the sleeve here, and on the inside you will get your paperwork on one side, and then you'll have your IEMs and a carrying case. You also will get a 8-core 152 strand single crystal silver plated copper cable, and you'll also get a Fearless Audio branded cleaning cloth, and then you get some tips. Now the little carrying case for the tips is sealed inside the box, so it actually does not remove. You're going to get some larger sized wide bore tips that are kind of a little bit olive shaped but wide bore, and then you're going to get some smaller ones that are also wide bore. And I really enjoy the stock tips so much that those are the tips that I used throughout. I did try some other tips, and I always ended up coming back to the stock tips. I just found that they offered the best sound. I also found that wide bore tips, whether it was JVC spiral dots or anything else that was a little bit on the wider side, sounded the best. You got a little bit more air and a little bit more space and a little bit more extension in the treble regions without losing anything in any of the other frequencies. So I highly recommend that. But I did change to, as you'll be able to see here in a moment, to a different cable. I'm using the Fearless Audio upgraded cable, which is a 6N single crystal copper cable. And I found that that cable just also offers a slight bit of more clarity and a little bit more sparkle in energy. So I actually use this cable over the stock cable. Not that the stock cable sounds bad, I just found that this enhanced the experience. Now, as I said, the Roland is a tribrid with a dynamic 2 Sonian BAs and 2 Sonian electrostats. And this thing is just absolutely gorgeous. And considering the amount of technology inside, they're not really that large. They do have a little bit of branding on them. On the left hand side, you get a look, it says Roland on it, kind of hard to see on camera. And then on the right hand side down at the bottom, it says Fearless. And I like the build of the Roland. It just feels premium, and they're absolutely gorgeous, especially in person and especially in sunlight. The blue and the black and the sparkles just come out, and it's just absolutely beautiful in the right lighting. One thing that the Roland does exceptionally well, at least for me, is comfort and isolation of outside noises. They just go in the ears and disappear. I've actually used these for many a session that are over 8 hours long without any discomfort whatsoever, and then repeated it the next day. As you can see, they just kind of disappear in the ears, and I find them to be exceptionally comfortable. And then they kind of put you in your own world. They really do isolate outside noises very well. Roland, they're just absolutely beautiful, comfortable, fantastic isolation of outside noises. But we're not here to talk all about that. We're here to talk about how they sound. Now, I did use these on many sources. I used them on desktop with the Mytek Liberty DAC and the Headamp GSX Mini, the Drop 1 Linear, and an Aueze Deckard. I also did use them on various other things that have come in for review, and also dongles. They work very well with the Periodic Audio Rhodium and the NextDrive Spectra X and the X Duo Lynx 2021 version, the Venture Electronics Odyssey HD, And they use them with DAPs, Sony NWWM1A and the A105, and the Heidi's AP80 Pro, and they worked like a charm. One thing I did notice is if you use them on warmer sources, they kind of tended to be a little bit more mushy and just a little overly cooked, especially in the bass and in the mids, and they lost clarity. So I found that they sounded better on more revealing and more clean and clear sources, a little bit more analytical and clinical type of sources. Something like the Periodic Audio Rhodium is actually my favorite pairing coming off of my phone. The Sony NW1A is also a fantastic pairing with the Roland. And I really did enjoy them on desktop. How do they sound? The Rolands are my favorite IEM, just all arounder. I really, really do enjoy the Rolands. They are special. They have this big bass that it has nice sub bass rumble, but yet it's well controlled and very well defined and has fantastic tone and timbre. The bass reaches down, gives you the power, gives you the that you're looking for, but yet doesn't overpower the mix, doesn't bleed in together, doesn't become uncontrolled. It's a very well-defined, well-controlled IEM in the bass, and yet it's not going to be a bass head's dream. It's not going to be anything of the sort because it's so well-defined and so detailed and so clean and clear. It's just an accurate and true bass. Then the mids. The mids have a nice kiss of warmth to them, very natural sounding. They have good body weight, density, and they just sound lifelike and realistic. The mids are very, very true. And I find that they're a very accurate, and just everything about it just sounds realistic. Going into the treble has good extension, has good air, sparkle, and energy, but it does it in a natural and realistic way. A lot of people will think that the Roland is dark, but it's not. It leans that way just a little bit, but it's not dark. And it's because it's not like all the other IEMs that boost the treble and elevate it to unrealistic levels that makes it sound unnatural. The Roland is the most natural sounding treble that I have heard. This is incredibly good, and I really find it enjoyable. Soundstage is also excellent. It does a really good job of being accurate to the size of the recording. If it's small and narrow, Roland is going to say, hey, your song is small, narrow, and intimate. If it's big and monstrous, it's going to open up and it's going to reveal the big stadium experience. It does really good with depth and layering. You can really read into a stage. You can have instruments one over each other and playing and mingling together, and it does a very good job of staying cohesive. And then imaging is spectacular. It does a really good job of tracking things across the stage, and placement is precise, very accurate, very true. You can definitely pick apart a stage with the Roland. Tone and timbre is where the Roland really excels. It is beyond incredibly good. This thing is the best tone and timbre that I've heard on an IEM. It's just ridiculously clean and true. Everything sounds proper. You can tell what each and every instrument is with ease. It is a fantastic tone and timbre. Detail retrieval is good. It's not the best. It's not going to be class leading as far as detail retrieval in an IEM, but it is very good. It is above most others. And resolution is craziness. These have excellent resolution of the details retrieved. So I really, really do enjoy the Roland, and I find them to be something special, and they are my favorite all-around IEM. I reach for these all the time. Can I do critical listening with them? Yes. Can I do enjoyment listening with them? Yes. Can I test other gear versus them? Yes. The Roland is exceptional at everything it does, and it's beautiful to look at. How does it compare to some other IEMs in its price point? Well, you have the Meze Ray Penta. Now, the Meze Ray Penta is warmer and has a little bit extra sizzle in the upper mids, but it's not as well defined, it's not as well detail retrieval and resolution, and it has a little bit of a fuzziness to it in the upper treble regions. In my opinion, the Meze Ray Penta is not as clean and clear as the Roland. The Empire Ears ESR. Now, the ESR does bass similar to the Roland. It has a lot of impact, it has a lot of authority, but it stays controlled. The ESR does have a lot of presence in the upper mids and in the treble region, and it is more aggressive in its presentation. Roland does better with tone and timbre. The ESR does do a little bit better with detail retrieval, but they're about even when it comes to resolution. M512D. The ADV M512D has a more airy presentation, a very open presentation, has a wider soundstage, bigger depth and layering, a little bit more precise in placement, but it has a lighter tone and timbre to it. It's a little bit lighter on note weight and density, and it is more aggressive in its presentation and definitely has moments of sibilance and hotness. The CTM Da Vinci 10. The Da Vinci 10 is out of this league. The Da Vinci 10 is what the Roland does, but better. The only thing that the Roland does better than the Da Vinci 10 is tone and timbre. The Da Vinci 10 does have a little bit of metallic timbre, doesn't quite have the naturalism that the Roland has in that regard, but in everything else, the 10 is a little bit better. Full review of the CTM Da Vinci 10 coming soon to the channel. Fearless Audio Roland. The way I describe this is it is the most honest IEM with tact. A lot of IEMs are honest. A lot of IEMs are very revealing. A lot of IEMs will give you the information that you're looking for, have what you're looking for, but they do it in a bold, blunt, forward, aggressive way. And it just loses a little bit of naturalism, loses a little bit of accuracy. Even though they're telling you the truth, sometimes it just gives it to you in a way that's, you're kind of like, ugh. You know, it's like when somebody comes up to you and tells you some actual fact about yourself that you needed to hear, but the way they say it is kind of offensive and you just kind of want to just give them a good old punch. Whereas the Roland is the opposite. It's honest, it's very truthful, but it has tact. It's going to come in and it's going to tell you the same facts, it's going to give you all the same information, but it's going to do it in a pleasurable way in which you go, thank you for telling me that. Now I need to go think about it. Now I need to go and make a change, instead of you just want to wail off and hit them and say, why'd you tell me that? The Roland, the most honest IEM that I have heard. It's been Dave, the Honest Audiophile. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Speaking of next video, somewhere on the screen, subscription links, notification bells. If you haven't already, check those off, and then don't forget to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down to the video. Check out all the links down below of how you can contact the channel, support the channel, follow the channel, all kinds of other good things down below. Gear rankings and tier lists and music recommendations, all kinds of things are down below, so check out those links. And then don't forget to enjoy the music, and honesty is the best policy.